Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 161. I'm just going to do a quick live. It's like 3 in the morning over here, but I thought I'd just do a short 1 hour live stream to talk about a few cases out there. So anyone can join me if they want on the side chat. Let me just cue the intro and some music while I set it up. Hello, good to be back. Okay, better switch the screens. What was that one? I'm not sure if anyone's out there at the moment, but people can watch this offline. Probably people are working still. Looks like everything's going alright. And the ticker's working. I haven't updated yet, I don't think. Okay, so first story will be talking about this predator in the forest, which actually comes from Bruce Maccabee's wife called Jan. They've got a big yard there with forests where she goes deer hunting. So I'll just bring up the details on that, and I'll have a look at the video where she claims that something went strange with her phone. So I'll just type my welcome message. And 61. This will be like a debunk stream. Okay, so Bruce has actually got a page up about it. Very small writing, as you can see. Let's see if we can do something about that. So he wrote a book on it, apparently, called Predator in the Forest, or Jane's Weird Experience. So instead of me read it out, I'll just get the reader to do that part.
It was.
Okay.
It was Wednesday, September the 29th, the next to last day in September, and hunting season for deer in Ohio was just 4 days old. The day started cool and damp, then became a beautiful, warm day with a nice sunset. Jan was anxious to begin hunting. Her method of hunting consisted of waiting and watching while seated in a tree stand. The seat of her stand is at the top of the 15-foot ladder. Her seat is in the northwestern corner of a many-acre wood that is surrounded by large planted fields and low-density residential areas. Her seat faces the east and is surrounded on all sides by trees. She didn't hunt in the morning, but she did climb up the 15 feet to the seat to test the newly installed bow hanger. She took a picture of her bow hanging from the bow hanger. She took the picture and other pictures below with her BlackBerry Pearl Model 8130 camera phone. The phone records the date and time of each picture, the spatial resolution, number of pixels horizontal and vertical, and the total byte size of each picture file.
Okay, we got someone joining us. Christian, how's it going? Cloaking. Yeah, the Predator movie was one of my favourite ones too. I probably like the Predator vs Aliens one, where they're inside the pyramid. Can't remember which one it was called now. I suppose it was called that, was it? Where they get trapped inside a mine pyramid. But yeah, this story is a wee bit like that. So apparently Bruce Maccabee's wife was sitting in a deer stalker thing there, as it reads, and she saw what looked like a shadowy outline jumping from tree to tree, 11 to 15 foot big. Whether it was a Bigfoot with cloaking technology, who knows. But it's an interesting story nonetheless, and it could be true, because there was a UFO sighting apparently over a school band that was playing probably a block away from where their house is. They reckon some lights come down. Well, some lights appeared above the football stadium and weren't there very long and then sipped away. So could that mean what she saw was the creature wearing some camouflage, interactive camouflage, where it shines the tree behind, not perfectly, and maybe they took off in the craft. That happened shortly after or something. So apparently it's featured in the new 411 movie. So but it's a pretty old story. It goes back to 2010, as you can see here. So she actually took some photographs or selfies of herself, and one photo came out crazy, basically, which is this one here, which we'll be going over, and I'll explain what's happened here and why it's not the actual picture of the Predator. Unfortunately, she didn't actually film the Predator, and it was on an old BlackBerry phone, but 2010 technology, of course. So yeah, you can see Bruce has done his usual analysis here. So let's see, where does they talk about the Predator? Further down, was it? I won't read it all out. Hey, my stats are finally updated. So they're talking about the high school here a mile away. So I'll just let's see, trees, pictures she saw nearby trees. So let's just read out some of it here.
After sitting for an hour and a half more, she left the tree stand about 7:45 and came to dinner with our guests for the evening. She didn't think to mention her strange experience. After dinner cleanup and a movie, the guests were about to leave when I checked my Facebook messages and saw one from Janice's nephew, a high school student. There was a sighting by a number of students and faculty at the high school during band practice just before dark. The high school is about a mile northwest of the tree stand. He wrote, "We were playing tonight on the field. And just as it was starting to get dark, a huge bright light appears over the field and begins to move sideways. Then in a matter of 5 seconds or so it disappeared, getting smaller almost every second. About 5 minutes later it reappeared. This time it was amber in color. I know of 4 people who saw this, and according to an upperclassman, the same thing happened last year and they actually stopped rehearsal.
Okay, so that's about the UFO. What's that there? Comparison photograph, okay. Not the highest spec camera, is it, back then? So it's quite interesting that he did some experiments here, looking at the hair and stuff. But he seems to have missed the logical stuff, which I'll go over. So where's the story about a predator? But I saw it here before. Wasn't much said. It must have been the paragraph above, is it? Oh, that's right. So it's here. Rubbing her eyes, right? So I'll just read that bit there too about the predator.
She thought a coyote, or maybe a black panther or some predator animal caused the quiet, as she knows, as hunters know, that when a predator such as a bear, for example, enters an area the other animals tend to become quiet. Then she became aware that a weird visual effect was moving rightward across her field of view at an apparent distance of maybe 15 to 20 feet. She described it as if looking through Saran wrap. Perhaps a more apt comparison would be like looking at a mirage above a hot road. She compared this distortion of the scene as being somewhat like the effect of the invisible creature in the Predator movie. This distortion was at a higher altitude than her 15 feet above the ground, perhaps about 25 feet above the ground. She took her glasses off and rubbed her right eye, thinking at first she had a floater, a mote in the eye. But after rubbing it was still there and not a floater.
Well, considering what goes on in my eyes at the moment, I do sometimes think I'm seeing a bug fly past. Sometimes you do see what looks like a jellyfish in your eye and hair in your eye. So yeah, you do get some strange floaters where the protein strings join together. Their eye is really a crappy design that God has designed. So it's like a ball of jelly really, and some cells, photocells, that convert it back into electrical energy, where the brain then processes it with the neurons to pattern match things in people's heads, right? So here's the famous picture, which they claim to be the predator. Or the UFO had some sort of shield on it that interfered with the camera, which is a possibility. So my first impression of this was, you can see a line running down here, right? Looks like it's like the pictures got scrambled. So we'll just go to some of the other stuff that Bruce has said. Okay, just gave us some camera specs here. A BlackBerry Pearl 8130, and it's saying it could only have 3 settings, but that last photo somehow come up to be 400 by 528, right? Which can happen if you got some firmware bug in the camera and low battery life, and it can actually scramble your picture. Now I've had it happen on various cameras that I've had over the years, where it does exactly that, and you basically delete the photograph. It's also to do with how the flash excuse me, how the flash memory works as well, the SD card as you call it. we sort of measured the picture here of one of her photographs, where you can see her long hair. It looks kind of similar to what's in the photograph. It looks like strands of curly hair, so we zoom right in, you can see that. Oh. I'm trying to zoom in without scrolling the web page. You can definitely see it's definitely strands of hair. But you can see it's definitely a line running down the page here, which I'm pretty surprised that Maccabee didn't pick it up. And you can see here these streaks are not matching up, so it looks like it's been skewed, right? The streaks are definitely not matching up. So it looks like it's been moved from the top half, skewed downwards here. So half an image for so many frames, so many scans. Kind of weird, but and all this here is just obviously flare to the camera lens, because there's a sun up here, so we're just getting some flare into the camera through the trees, so you get sunlight flare. Let's see if we can find some images comparable. Now you're used to these ones here, but sometimes you get one that makes multiple streaks. Here's one here, similar to that, where you got a light source in the distance and you're picking up dust in this one. And you get ones with finer streaks as well, but like that photograph. I wonder if we can find one. Depends how much moisture's in the air as well. So there's one with the streaks going through. You get little fine droplets of water vapor. Yep, France. Is your name, is it, oh, not France. You're not on Discord, are you? You're not one of the people on Discord talking to me. I've been talking to a guy from Spain earlier tonight. Yeah, so yeah, we're just trying to find a similar picture, but not having much luck. Probably need one with droplets. There's this closer one here with droplets. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter, but you can see what I mean. So yeah, so she claimed that she could see an outline like this jumping through the trees, right? Predator, I'm not sure if that's from the Predator movie or what, or someone made it up. Scene from the movie or the same game, I'm not too sure what they mean by that. But there's some other images here. Oh yeah, that looks like a Predator movie snap, doesn't it? So yeah, ghosty looking one here. What's that one there? Bigfoot Field Journal. Well, they did say there was a UFO Bigfoot connection, right? Some people, there have been some reports about Bigfoots flying UFOs. Some people saw Bigfoot hovering, and they can see Bigfoot at the control panel. Which I'm not sure how that works. Maybe it's another alien race that sort of got stranded on the planet and decided just to set up base here and start living in the forests. Who knows? But or they're just simply trapped still, with no way to communicate home. So especially if you're like your radio device that you communicate with got damaged in a crash, and maybe the thing bit caught fire and burnt up from a big forest fire, you know, because you know metal just melts into nothing. So who knows? Or maybe it just crashed into a big lake and is at the bottom of the lake. So you never know. It could be all sorts of good stories. I'm really surprised they haven't made a sci-fi movie about it. Actually, you get a lot of good ideas for sci-fi movies in the UFO industry, don't you? Hollywood should be paying more attention. So yeah, he reckons it can't be here. And this, because he said the picture's in focus, which it sort of is. It's just overexposed. So I'll just show you in the editor what I've found. Okay, and I'll come back to those other bits in a minute. So I'll just close that down. So what I did is I took the image here, same one, and I first ran it through paint.net, and I put some filters in, and now you can start to see something pop out here. So if I zoom in here, what's that look like to you? It looks like an eye on the face, it looks like a mouth, a nose, an ear, a chin coming around, it looks like a hairline going out here, but here doesn't look like it's part of the photograph. So here's a side by side of the original and the bit I modified. So I go on to the next one, I'll draw an outline around it, so if you can't see what I was pointing out there. There's the hairline coming out around this way, the neck, some cloven, mouth and eye up here. And I took this bit down here because it looks like it was cut off around about there, right? If you have a look at the photograph, looks like it changes alignment and color. Seems brighter orange here, looks like it got cut off at that point there and sort of merged on from further up the image. Hard to see the face. Make it bigger screen in a minute. So what I did is I cut the hairline where I think where the camera sort of merged it and moved it to where it should be up here with the photograph. You can see here it lines up with the hair strands coming off the back of the head with the same light in and everything here, and here is the one that I moved up same, and you can see it matches up perfectly with the hairline and the strands of hair coming off the back here. She had it tied up apparently at the back of the neck, which sort of matches the colours here, matches this here, and you can see here her ear popping out through some hair that's going around this way. It's like a half a face, so we're looking at half a face here. So the other side of the picture here got obviously lost, got cropped off somehow in the bug of the camera. So you can see here the color changing, definitely changing here through the filtering that I did. So it looks like it sort of moved it down and moved it sideways this way. Moved it down. Oh no, just moved it down. Just moved it down. But the top of the picture started there. So that should have been up here. But hard to explain. It's not exactly moved down. It's moved down and sideways. Moved down and sideways that way. So basically it started scanning here again. I'm not sure how it would do that. It'd have to be some sort of coding bug. So if I go back here, it's half a face, right? So that's half the lips, one eye, ear thing. Do you see that now? You can't see it in this image here because it's overexposed and the face got darkened. So if you compare it to her other photographs, this one here, you can see she's got the cap on here, and you can see she's got blonde hair. So, and you can see the sunlight is actually in this direction, just exactly how she took the photograph. So the third one didn't come out, it got scrambled, probably because the battery was low, probably. Yeah, because it uses a bit more power to do photographs. So if you look carefully, I think you can even see the cap. Looks like a cap that might be going slightly just above. It looks like it's got chopped off actually. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell with the cap, but probably see more of it down here. And kind of weird how it's sort of corrupted, but yeah, it's moved in two places. So I'm a bit surprised he didn't actually notice it himself. You can see here it can't be her long neck coming this far down. It's obviously the neck doesn't go that long. Obviously it's coming further from above, right? It's sort of moved down from here. Okay, you got it. We only got you watching at the moment, I think. I think the other one's got bored. So I think this picture is a misleading one, but the story is very interesting, and looks like the UFO incident did happen same time, not soon after. So, but a shame she didn't actually video or get some snaps off the thing in the tree, because that had been. I suppose it's always like when you see something crazy for the first time, you don't think about reaching for a camera. You want to keep your eyes on it, don't you? You know how you have to fumble around with a phone. But the older phone cameras were a lot easier to use, weren't they? Didn't you just have to click a button on your phone, a button on the front? Just aim the camera, click a button, that's done, instead of having to bring up an app on the screen, line it up, and then take it, and by then the thing's moved on, right? So, yeah, it's quite a good, interesting case, that one. I thought you might be interested in that one. I'm not sure if you can find any more info online about it, apart from Bruce's page here, but I'll give you the links to it, so you can have a read and look at the pictures yourself. So the Predator UFO case. Now I did find some information about BlackBerry cameras, and they call it the Crackberry. And that's kind of interesting. So apparently I was looking for a photograph that looks very similar to what Jan Maccabee caught, and sure enough, I think it's on this page here. Here we go, exactly the same sort of effect. They've got the edge of a curtain here, and somehow it's sort of moved. This one's moved in the opposite direction rather than that direction, but it's definitely moved down, right? See that? Pretty much by the same amount as her one did, I think, almost, if you compare the arm. So obviously it's a known bug with the camera. I think that there proves it beyond doubt what happened to that picture. I don't know if there's any other ones that people got. But there might be some more examples out there now. So when was that posted? What time? Was it before Maccabee or after? So not long ago, like looks like the 2015. So 5 years after Maccabee. So people are still getting problems with the camera phone on that Blackberries. So I'll give you that link there if you want to have a read what they're talking about there and compare it to that photo if you want to. Blackberry pick corruption. I think it's obviously got to do with the power that it needs to store the picture on the SD card. And if the pixels, if it doesn't save the pixels it's properly, it obviously saves it on a different data chunk because it's already saving it. Probably a bit hard to explain it, but I think I did find a Reddit post as well. I'm not sure what they're trying to say here, it's flashing up too fast. But they haven't come across the same analysis I just did. So they're saying it's the back of her hair with the hair loose, and they're incorrect there. But they're right about the sun rays. So yeah, I guess I'm a bit more of an expert than some of the other experts online. So there wasn't much said about that one. Talking about what's it say here? Appears the image in question is half the size. Okay, which is basically what I said. Sort of split the image and moved it down, sort of cropping it. And they're saying, did they crop it themselves? No, we just proved it's a camera artifact that happens occasionally. Certainly Bruce Maccabee would be a bit more credible than that when he they're saying that they hyped it up. Well, it's basically, you either got to believe a story or not, but the picture doesn't prove a thing. And of course they're sort of saying Maccabee Golf Breeze photos were faked. I actually did a full episode on that, you should go and watch it. That's not my conclusion, I don't believe they were faked. Maybe one, could have been. But we did find some other new footage that come out later on since the Golf Breeze and with HD camera, which looks almost like the same craft that they caught back in Golf Breeze. So just definitely go and have a look at that. So should be able to find it here. I'll post a link to it. Golf Breeze. What was the other one I said to have a look at? There's another one. It's amazing how time flies when you explain on this stuff. What other stuff can I apply to this one that's relevant? I do so much in 2.5 years, pretty much every day. Certainly 3 times a week anyway, putting out a video. Okay, should just click on that. So we can get rid of that story now, I think. So basically, she was in the tree. She saw this thing. She heard the forest go quiet first, and then she saw this thing move between 2 trees. You think it'd make a noise though, wouldn't you, as well? Which is kind of strange, branches moving and stuff. Then, instead of being scared and climbing down and running off in the house to tell Bruce or someone, she stayed there hunting still, by the sounds of it. She doesn't remember what happened. Like, she doesn't remember when the forest became alive again, when all the creatures started making noise. And she was there until the sun set, and then climbed down and went back into the house. So it's kind of strange. And you can see here it's talking about missing 411, so obviously the story's been featured in the books, and now it's been featured in the movie. I think it's the book Hunted, isn't it? Or The Hunt. So you can close that one down, unless you want to read that too. I suppose I could post it. Yeah, so that brings us to the next ones. Let's close that one. So then I'll probably be wrapping up. Just a quick debunk. So we want to get to third phase. False. So I got some pre-made debunks for them too. And we'll just go through it. So I'll maybe start with the first one first and work backwards. So this one here. I'll just make sure the volume working. Probably don't need them talking, but we'll just do closed captions. Is that on or off? Doesn't say, does it? Maybe slow it down a wee bit. There we go. Is it on? So it's just a bright light in the sky here. Here they're sort of playing around with the contrast and brightness. Now, you can see them moving the camera all over the place, which causes artifacts. You can see it jumping. It looks like it's got a towel on it when it's jumping. It's just an artifact because of rolling shutter. But we also got a bright dot because it's clearly overexposed. The sun's hitting it. You can see the sun's obviously behind them because it's lighting up this chimney. I guess it is a chimney on this side. So you know the sunlight's over this side. Clearly lighting up something here. What do you think on those ones, guys, before I tell you? Yeah, I don't think it's got a tail on it. I think it's just caused by the movement. But what normally has tails? Well, balloons do, and also kites. So that to me looks like a helium balloon. I'm not sure why it's not talking though. Oh, here we go. California, where they release lots of helium balloons there. If there's not much of an air current, we don't know how fast the wind is going, because again, there's no proper analysis done. But if you got no breeze, right, in California, it's a sunny day, and the helium balloon has lost some of the gas and becomes like equal buoyancy. Instead of going up, it's sort of going to be floating there, moving around with little gusts. And of course, what happens at the end? Do they keep on filming, or do they simply just turn it off? Or does it simply pop at some stage and disappear? So let's see if we can get any answers. I think they're just looping. Looks like it's all looping. Just to pad it out to 10 minutes, right? When it's 10 minutes on YouTube, they can put extra ads on. Because we got Brave, which automatically blocks ads, we don't see the ads here. Yeah, one of the shiny balloons. They're called Mylar, normally metal, sort of aluminium type shininess to it. Okay, so they obviously must have stopped filming it, alright? They must have got bored of filming it, or maybe it just popped, or maybe it suddenly gust of wind took it away and the camera couldn't focus on it anymore. But we don't know because we haven't got the full footage. And if they actually got one to it. Electric bolts, plasma discharge. I don't think it's that one because it hasn't got listed there. Looks like a metallic UFO, they reckon. Well, technically it is a UFO until it's identified, which we call IFOs, identified flying objects. Well, in this case they're not really flying, it's just floating. So really it should be called unidentified floating object, really, shouldn't it? So these people obviously don't watch my channel, so they have no clue, right? So obviously they didn't send it to MUFON, right? We haven't got a MUFON case number listed, which is what they should have done. And Third Face lists themselves as science and technology news of all things. I thought they were entertainment. As so many people seem to claim that the UFO channel is entertainment and they should be left alone. So let's have a look at my analysis here. I did only one picture for it. So that's a zoom up with some filtering. Yeah. As you can see, it's overexposed. Can't see much of a shape there, but it does look have brighter bits there. And you can see slightly brighter bits, which is possibly a shape that's forming. Doesn't look like it's got anything below it, but you couldn't rule it out having a bit of string there with a bit of glitter at the end. And this is a bigger version they zoomed in, which allowed me to do a better analysis of it. And now we can start to see it has some sort of shape. It's either a pentagon that's sort of got lost some of the gas on the helium balloon, but more likely it's going to be one of these star ones. They're pretty common out there. That's got rotated. I've tried to rotate it, but it's a bit hard to do with the 2D photograph. So yeah, so if it loses some of the gas, obviously it's not going to be so pointy. It's going to be a bit baggy, and it's going to hover rather than go upwards, because the weight to gas ratio is different. Apparently the helium leaks through the pores of the helium membrane through the atoms, so this shows how porous it is. So yeah, so that's that one. So we can move on to the next one. So these guys, I don't think they mentioned the balloon at all. They're talking about all sorts of things to throw people off. A rocket. I don't think there's anything mentioned about balloon. All the obvious ones, right? shoot out orbs. No, it didn't. It's because they wobbled it around. I think they're talking about there, was it? Airplane? No. Instead of guessing, guys, you could bring up what I do, Flight Radar 24, and just plug in the date and time and see if there's any planes near that location. But they don't do that much. So you can see it's creating a double shadow because of the way CMOS scans, because it's obviously portrait, so it will be top to bottom. So if they move it slightly up and down with their hand, they're going to get double images. And if they move it left and right, it's going to get a diagonal thing. And if they move it too fast, you're going to get more than one image that happens like that. Yeah. You can pin it like there. There's a double image. Yeah. That's where they're saying it's releasing orbs. It's because they're moving up and down in the scan. It scans here, and then they move the camera and it scans here. And it looks like, you can see how much it's faded, right? It's not as bright as that one. Anyway, back to the next one. That one here. I've got it muted, haven't I? Okay, is it still slower? Yeah. Music. I still think they should call their site UFO Tools, Tools, because that's what they are. So we got lens flare, or is it? I think it's lens flare and reflection, but I'll go over it in a minute. We'll just watch some of it. So they're saying it's in England. You see how quickly it flashed there. If you ever see lightning, it never flashes that fast, right? And you can't see any rain clouds or thunder clouds there. You notice the colour is a wee bit off too. It looks almost yellow, like a internal light. See that? Are you catching anything there? If you've been watching my live streams, you may be looking for reflections where you can work out whether it's in glass. Are they filming outside or are they filming inside? No, it's not a moon. It's quite obvious what it is when I show you. You're talking about the balloon heart shape. No, I don't think so. Definitely was a pentagon type shape. But it's hard to ever be 100% sure with such a faraway object, of course. The size of the moon as seen from Earth is exactly the size of the sun as seen from Earth. Okay. Yeah, the moon is an oddball thing. They reckon it got geo-locked into spinning in sync with the Earth. It may be a chunk of Earth that got knocked out into space. And because the gravity causes it to spin and form the shape of a sphere again. As it would have been molten, super hot, and it would have started cooling down and forming a solid mass. Or maybe it's not even solid. It may have formed pockets inside as it was forming millions of years ago, or billions of years ago, or whatever it's going to be. So yeah, this video If you play it at, this is played at slower speed, by the way, so those flashes are happening really quick. So, have you got any clues yet down the side what it's going to be? Would you say it was a UFO, an angel in the sky, a critter, or someone doing a hoax? They're saying it was communicating with them, and if you have a listen to them, they don't sound English either.
Sure.
I'll put it up to normal for a wee bit.
Da din cer, nu e de jos.
Da, din cer.
Uite cum se vede acum.
Can you hear some clicking in the background too? I think that's a clue there, the audio.
Păi nici nu cred că stă pe loc.
Did you hear the click? Will it be loud enough for you
Nu
guys?
meteori ceva. Se uită numai. Ia.
The click sound. Romanians in England, perhaps. Looks like it's converting the English though. Africa, sit down. I know, Alicia, sit down. So just put it back to slower speed again. So yeah, so where's that one that I analysed? Was it that one? Or was that the other one? That might be the other one. Okay, I think it's this one at the end here. Okay, so took a screen grab of this one, and you can see there's a slight shadow here, especially when you put it through. I should just use a usual zoom. You can see here it's definitely reflecting off a window, and you can see other. You can't see any lights here, but when you amplify it, you can see reflections all throughout the image here, caused by someone clicking a LED torch on, and that's what it is. Slightly angled, so it reflects this way, so it's reflecting more from down here upwards. You could hear the clicking in the background too if you listen carefully to it. So someone's tried to fake it. Not sure if they're trying to get money for it. Do they have their own YouTube channel? Link with permission. Well, when you do review and critical analysis like I do, you can do it under fair use. You don't have to get permission from anybody. So obviously they're trying to make money from making a forgery, right? So let's have a look. They've been busted, and the reason I sent it to Third Phase is to get bigger publicity, and of course knowing they would just use it for clickbait as well and make money of it. Strange light in the sky, right? At least they didn't say it was a UFO. But obviously they faked it, and I've got some more evidence here. What's the next one? And you can see on this one here how I should just zoom in normally. You see here that it's overlaid on the tree. Now if it was a light in the sky, it should be illuminating from behind the tree, and you can see here it's definitely illuminating on top of the tree, in front of the tree, which means it's being filmed through glass. And you can see more reflections down here too. So, yep. Debunked. you're up with it. The more you look at stuff together with me, the more you'll become a better UFO filmer as well as a debunker. You better debunk your own stuff as well. My very first sighting I put up on my channel, I think it's episode 4. It's pretty, my first basic learning how to do editing and all that. I'm a lot better now than what I was back in those days, but I used the proper apps at the time. When I saw the light in the sky, I got out Heavens Above or Google Sky and aimed the tablet at the sky and overlined Venus exactly over top. So that's what everybody should be doing, right? They should be trying to debunk stuff themselves. So on to the next one. Don't think it was worth worrying about anymore on that one.
Yeah, moi.
Unless there was a second part to it. There might be a second part to this one. Or is it the same one? Oh no, same one, isn't it? Okay, I think it's the same one. Yep. Waste of time. How many clicks do they get on those ones? 14,000 views. They do better than I do. And 60,000 views on this one. Awestruck. So how can they get away with getting ads when that's misleading titles, right? Tesla's UFO, weird sky phenomenon. Well, it's just a Mylar balloon. This one here is obviously a fake video of a torch in a window. And this one here is the last one I'm going to talk about and wrap up for the night. It's 4:15 in the morning, as you can see. So on to the next one. Oh, actually, I was going to look at the comments, see if there's any decent comments on that one. So if you do like what I'm doing here, do like and share my stuff to your socials. I think I've got 1 like so far. I think we had 4 watching at one stage, which is pretty good for my channel because I'm the most hated UFO channel out there. Because you only get the truth here. Now if someone can get me a video that I can't debunk, go ahead. But we want the real footage of a UFO. The only one I've come close to not be able to debunk is really Mojo's one, which is the alien grey and the UFO one. It still could be a hoax, but that's still the best one I've got so far, you know. Where someone's actually given me the source as well, which is good. Sad the brainwashed ones have no idea what it is. I tell you, it is a most likely Project Bluebeam. He's totally got it wrong too. It's so strange that the whooshing sounds don't go all the way through the video. See, these people just don't have a clue, do they? Looks like a sun simulator. I feel a bit dubious because there's no sign of it anywhere in UK. In England there's 99 languages. That's true, they do have a lot of accents over there. Not anything projecting, not military flares, not swamp gas. But they haven't listed the obvious, which is reflection. Normally people like this do ceiling lights, right, in the kitchen, because it looks like a saucer shape in the ceiling and it reflects off the glass. So if you get the right angle and lighting, it can reflect quite good and it looks like it's hanging in the sky. You get those ones all the time, which I've covered a few times now. It's a ceiling light. They actually got ceiling lights, they actually look like UFOs too. Imagine that one reflected into a window here. We'll probably have to go for a reflection now. We want to see a reflection. how to make a quick, simple UFO thing. So here we go, we've got lots of ceiling lights. They look like UFOs, right? Let's see if we can zoom in on that one. Ceiling lights, and you can see some in the distance here too. What other ones we got here? That one was in Scotland, was it? There you go, lots of ceiling lights reflected onto the clouds. And that one there, I think that was Scotland, Loch Ness. Zoom in on that one. There you go, you can see a lot of reflections there, you can see here. Just like in that photograph we just looked at, I mean the video we just looked at. And it's amazing how many people do it. And there's another one. You may have seen this one on Security. He used that one too, saying it was a UFO. It's one of those fancy lights on a chain that actually looks like a UFO. So if you go back to that list, you're probably able to find that one. Yeah, there's quite a few of them, so it'd be like this one here. Something like that one. So many different choices now. That one looks like Billy Meyer one. It's getting closer to it. Look at that one. That looks like a Gulf Breeze one almost. Okay. Another one. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I'm pretty sure we can find that one. I think I may have covered it in one of my videos already. The sect one in the picture. I think it might have a fan on it or something like that. Anyway, moving on to the last one. This guy's a fraud as well. Haimi Musan, or whatever his name is. Well, he's extremely gullible. But I think he may be a fraud because several times he's been told what the things are he's looking at, and he still promotes it. That Jerusalem one with the Israel UFO coming down was actually done by film students who admitted to it. So and they're doing Corey good, all the known big fakers out there, right? So let's have a look at this one. I think I've got all the ones done now. We've got some crappy music here. Oops. What's this one here? Oh yeah, that's the video I took it from. What's that look like you? What's it look like to you guys out there? And they all have sort of signatures. Okay, so I'll go over it. I'll watch the video and go over it. What speed have we got on? Becky what? I suppose I got it down here. Although it says several people. Where's Becky listed then? Don't see Becky's name there. That's what it says there. Okay, this is the video. Oh, looks like this ain't the meteorite one. This is something else. So you've probably seen this on security cameras, but this security camera's actually got motion tracking, so it follows any movement. So it adds in artifacts, of course, and it's just all that is. So they're saying it's this camera here which pans with motion tracking or manual control. Most security cameras do that, and you know they're infrared or IR as it's called. And you can see it was tracking a box around it where it detects where it thinks it is. So what could cause that? Any ideas down the side? We've only got 2 watching again. Have any of you got security cameras where you're seeing the same thing happen? Yeah, so you can see it sort of drops down. Sometimes it can be a spider that's on the lens, or just in front of it, dropping down on a spider web. But because it sort of, the camera moves, the thing then sort of takes off. You can see it getting smaller and smaller. It's most likely going to be a bug of some kind that's got wings. Coming down, camera's locked on, then suddenly it moves and the bug flies off. And you can just see it getting smaller and smaller as it's flying off. Most likely going to be a fly of some kind. What's happened? I went full screen, did it? So I did actually say that here. Well, maybe I didn't actually type it on the screen. I typed it on my Twitter page, right? Security camera. And that's the other one at the end here. 2 videos, well, it's what. Yeah, once again, too big. Where's minimize? It's got scrolled off the top, that's why. So that one's sort of debunked, right? They're saying it's a big object coming down, then flying off, which is nonsense. And they've been doing it for years, right? They should, they've probably got their own security cameras where they've seen that effect happen, where the IR lights illuminate or overexpose it. So you can look up pictures like that online, quite easy. Security cam bugs. Let's see. Probably come up with bugs and software probably. Oh, here we go. So there's a spider or beetle maybe, like that one there. Some of them a bit small. There's another one, a moth with rolling shutter effect happening. Another one which looks like little rods. And there's another one. Looks like it's in twilight. else we got? Probably narrow it down. Bugs, moths. There you go. And we've got a spider web coming down. Spiders are pretty common. Make these little blobs on the screen. Here's the spider building a web in front of the camera. I don't know if you can see that properly. You can see how much they get illuminated. There's another one on the lens. Sometimes you get a water droplet or mist in the air and it runs down the lens as well. I'm not sure if you got some images of that. Security camera, mist. There's some mist. But sometimes you can see the individual water droplets. Probably not bad to find one. I did get it one night on my camera. I showed people live on camera what it looked like. But looks like I should have taken a snapshot of it at the time. It's quite good because you can see the in 3D the water vapor sort of coming towards the camera, and then the wind would carry it around, and you can see this little looks almost like a little UFO dancing in front of the camera. It was pretty cool to watch it. The mist. It's like one of those ghost apparitions where it sort of forms a mist and it swirls around and goes around the camera. It's pretty neat. Probably someone's probably got it on video somewhere on YouTube probably. I don't know why I didn't take it. It would have been good for demonstration. Weird mist caught on surveillance camera. So let's have a look at this one then. Make sure it's slowed down. So it's not going to play. What's going on, Google? We're being taken over, guys. Sometimes this happens. Well, it's loading there now. Oh, here we go. Not as good as my one, but you can see it's like a ghosty apparition that sort of happens. They've sort of got their camera angled down towards the ground. Mine's angled horizontal, so you see the mist coming in and around. It looks a lot better. And this one's probably high definition, so that the dots look don't look as big as what it does on my basic one. But yeah. So what else we got here? Same old thing. They like yappering and padding it out, don't they? 10 minutes again, see how the sec time there? Loop it out, talk a load of rubbish on the screen until you get 10 minutes, so you can put ads, start, end, and middle, or whatever. It triples your income. You notice mine don't have any ads. Okay, so here's the other footage. And you can see it looks like a meteorite or space junk coming down. Pretty good though. I've never seen that. I've seen a big flash in the sky and a fireball that lasted probably 2 seconds. Nothing to stretch that long. And to catch it on camera, if you got long enough to get your camera out and film it, to what they're saying what it is. So yeah, not too sure whereabouts it is, but you can see here the guy's filming it in portrait, which you should never do. You should always film it in landscape. Improves the quality no end. And if you move your camera up and down when it's on portrait, you see what happens. It sort of creates the double images and corrupts it. You're less likely to move it left and right and corrupt it because it's got longer scan rate going that way. Also is nothing, but you should really just put yourself on a brick wall or tree, lean on a tree, keep your arms steady when you're filming a UFO. Something flying, there's something crashing to Earth or skimming off the atmosphere at the top and then bouncing back out, which was the thing that happened in Ireland when the pilot saw this fireball skim in front of him. It can actually, a comet can come and skim off the upper atmosphere and then bounce back out. So we probably could look that one up on the radar map, and the thing called meteorite radar, and it probably would be on that if we knew what the date and time it was and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think we really need to debunk what that is. We just know it's space junk or meteorite, right? It's obviously not UFOs, so. And they've got doing some zooms. Different colours. Well, it will do. Depends on how much atmosphere it's going through, or act like a prism. Create a rainbow effect. Same with stars, change colours. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's, guys. Or tonight, I should say. I should be getting to bed. I don't think anything else is worth looking at here. Egyptian. Don't trust anything they put up here. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and hopefully enjoyed your stay with me, and I'll catch you next time, guys. Maybe might do one tomorrow. I've got trying to zoom in on your comments. I've got someone from Spain that wants me to look at his video, and I think I have sussed out what it is, but I'm just waiting for some more information. Yeah, okay, so I'll say goodnight and end up with the trailer, and hopefully do one tomorrow or the next day. Probably be like another hour. Hopefully we'll get the guy on voice, because at night time it'll be his daytime. He said possibly Wednesday, so see how it goes. I'll just close down with my credits now, and let Google process it and add the side comments on it. You know, when it's finished processing, it normally adds the side chat comments on, and then you can watch it in HD 720. But before then, it allows you to play it as a TS format, streaming format, which is, I think, is about 48p or something. I don't know, but it's not as good as the final output anyway. So good night, everybody. I'll catch you again soon. Please like and share. Much appreciated.